Yo, what is going on, you slackers? I am your host, Slackerz Gaming, bringing you the next episode in our potential newcomer matchup, our tournament that we've been doing on the channel. And real quick, if you haven't seen it, basically, I created a 36 potential newcomer tournament, and I kind of made a bunch of matchups, and then each day I upload one episode, and you guys basically can vote between the two characters that you want. Even if you don't think they're going to be playable, it still helps, at least voting for somebody, because ultimately if you don't think they're going to get voted on through, and you find somebody else that thinks will get voted ahead of them or has a more likely chance to be added into the game, vote for them eventually. So I guess it's just a good way to kind of get a grasp on who the community really thinks is the likely characters. And especially now after the August 8th Direct, which was last week, now we can really see what, who it narrows down to for the community. So, yeah, let's get into it. So I always do, the voting always lasts for 1 7-day period. So I guess today's Tuesday. So that means Tuesday last week we have to go over those results, which was game 14. Banjo-Kazooie versus Captain Toad. And I always like to say, when I see a matchup, I always kind of like to predict ahead of schedule, like who I think would win and then what the results could be. Honestly, I thought this would be one of the closer matchups in the first round of the tournament. Turns out I was completely wrong. 34-20, it's not that close. I mean, 20 votes is still very respectable. Very good for Captain Toad, but Banjo-Kazooie pulled through. I guess more people are either pulling for Banjo because the nostalgia, they want him. He was, both characters would fit in the game, but Banjo ended up winning this one. I got to get down the votes here real quick. 34 for him. Captain Toad had 20. So, again, if you haven't seen, it's a double elimination tournament, so Captain Toad is not out of the tournament, just goes to the loser bracket. That's all. So let me get Banjo in here real quick. And Banjo's the 15th. Alrighty. So Captain Toad, loser, game 14. There we go. Captain Toad moves down here. And 18 seed. Yep, that's what it was. Alright, so that's it for that one. So Banjo moves on to the next round, and he'll be facing Skull Kid. That should be an interesting matchup, especially with Skull Kid coming off of the highest votes ever for a matchup. Whew, that was nuts. And people are still pouring in votes, which is fine. Just don't tally them up because that match is already over. But hey, keep watching, keep voting. It's all good. So let's move on to today's matchup, which is game number 20, Dixie Kong versus Impa. Let's jump into it. So Dixie Kong is, I think maybe going in, kind of was thought of perhaps one of the more likely, not the most likely, but one of the more likely newcomers, and especially after the whole Echo Fighter thing was revealed, a lot of people thought Sakurai and his team would go back to the original idea of how like Diddy and Dixie Kong would work, but now they just kind of make Dixie an Echo Fighter of Diddy, so it could be somewhat different, but then you could change just a little bit of the moveset to keep like the personality for Dixie Kong to herself, especially the ponytail. You got to get stuff involved with her ponytail. That's what really sets her off. And going off of last week when they revealed King K. Rool, which still my favorite reveal out of any game, the reveal trailer, that was hands down my favorite of all time. But didn't it seem like the perfect time to reveal Dixie Kong if she is in fact in the game as a playable character? Some people were kind of bringing it up to me the point, well, then it'd be kind of Donkey Kong overload. Well, I can understand that to a point, but then what about Castlevania? They just got 2 reps, brand new newcomer, and then an Echo Fighter. Isn't that essentially what Donkey Kong would have gotten? A brand new newcomer and then an Echo Fighter? So that argument was kind of weird for me, but I think Dixie Kong still has a good chance, and perhaps maybe they're saving more Echo Fighters because I think there's still quite a bit, not like 15, maybe not even 10, maybe something like I could see somewhere between 3 to 6 more Echo Fighters or something. So maybe they're saving more for kind of a bulk reveal, kind of how they did with Dark Samus and Crom. They could do, the next Direct, whenever it is, they're like, oh, here's 2 more Echo Fighters. Maybe they're saving Dixie for something like that. I could see that. But Dixie still has a pretty good chance. She was playable in Tropical Freeze for, the Wii, was she playable in the Wii U? I don't know. But she was playable in Tropical Freeze, I think, on the Switch at least. She is one of the main characters from the Donkey Kong series. I think she's really one of the last true Nintendo All-Stars that is yet to be implemented into Smash Bros., whether as a playable character or assist trophy or whatever it might be. I think she's kind of out there by herself, in my opinion. So I think she still has a good chance. I really do. Echo Fighter or Unique Fighter. I think she'd be a bit better as a more of a unique fighter, maybe like a semi-clone of Diddy Kong. But yeah, you can make her an Echo Fighter and still change up a few things for her own personality, like the pigtail, the ponytail. So moving on to her opponent, Impa from the Legend of Zelda series. Something that does get brought up about the Legend of Zelda series is that they deserve a brand new fighter, and I'm a big believer in that. Get a fresh face in there. Impa could work, although a lot of the things that I see with Impa, and I'm on this train too, where Impa would be more of an Echo Fighter of Sheik, just kind of, I guess, fits the build, fits the mold of that. So I can see that, but what's the correct version of Impa do we get? Do we get this one kind of like from the Hyrule Warriors, or do we get this one, the older version that we seen in Breath of the Wild? How would Sakurai, look at the character? He loves to stay true to the character, the personality and all that. So how would Sakurai see the character? Which form would it be? That's an issue, I guess you could say, but I mean, Impa's got to be on the short list if Legend of Zelda does get a brand new face into Smash as a playable rep. I think definitely at the top of the list. But fighting with likes of Skull Kid, whose assist trophies yet to be seen, Tingle, like I said, Impa's on there. I think there's a few characters that are still, I think, maybe in the way of Impa, but still has a pretty decent chance. I'm not saying shoo-in by any means, but in terms of voting for this matchup, I think for me, I got to go Dixie Kong. I think she makes more sense in this case. Again, like I said, to me she seems like one of the last remaining Nintendo All-Stars, if you want to call it that. She's been around forever, from a huge franchise for Nintendo. People recognize the name. I mean, right? Why not? I mean, Donkey Kong supporters been clamoring for new Donkey Kong support in Smash Bros. Whether it's playable reps or assist trophies, just some sort of representation for the longest time. And I think now is a great time, especially K. Rool's finally in. Thank you, Sakurai. That was awesome. I still think Dixie Kong has the better chance in this vote, or in this matchup. So my vote is for Dixie Kong. Again, let me know who you guys think down in the comments. Who you voting for? Dixie Kong or Impa? And I guess that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as usual. Hopefully we catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody.